Imagine waking up at 2 inches the morning, not because of a nightmare, not because of a loud noise outside, not because you have work in a few hours. You simply wake up. You look around your room. It's dark, quiet. The world is asleep. You check your phone. Dua tevent 25th am. You sigh. Great. My sleep schedule is ruined. So you roll over, try to force yourself back to sleep, stare at the ceiling for 30 minutes, and slowly become convinced that something is wrong with you. But what if I told you that for most of human history, waking up in the middle of the night was completely normal? Not only normal, expected. For thousands of years, humans didn't sleep in one long 8-hour block. They slept twice. This was known as first sleep and second sleep. And if that's true, then maybe modern humans aren't bad at sleeping. Maybe we're trying to sleep in a way our brains were never designed for. The story starts in medieval Europe. Historians digging through old court records, diaries, medical texts, and literature noticed something strange. People constantly referred to their first sleep. At first, researchers thought it was just an old expression, but then they found references to second sleep, again, and again, and again. It appeared everywhere. People would write things like, "I awoke after my first sleep," or "The neighbors visited between the first and second sleep." Doctors recommended medicines to be taken after first sleep. Farmers planned chores around it. Even prayers were specifically written for the time between sleeps. This wasn't some rare habit. It was the default way people slept. The pattern looked something like this. People went to bed shortly after sunset. Remember, there was no Netflix, no TikTok, no gaming until 3 a.m. When darkness arrived, so did bedtime. They would sleep for around 4 hours. Then, naturally, wake up for 1 or 2 hours, not groggy, not annoyed, wide awake. Some people prayed. Some talked with family members. Some read by candlelight. Some smoked tobacco. Some visited neighbors. Some had sex. In fact, historical records suggest this period was considered one of the best times for intimacy because people were relaxed, rested, and mentally calm. After an hour or two, they would become sleepy again and return for their second sleep, lasting until sunrise. 2 sleeps. 1 night, for centuries. But here's the weird part. This wasn't just happening in Europe. Anthropologists found similar patterns in many cultures around the world. It turns out that if you remove modern lighting from human life, people often drift back towards segmented sleep naturally. And scientists accidentally proved this in an experiment. In the 1990s, psychiatrist Thomas Wehr conducted a fascinating study. Participants were placed in an environment with 14 hours of darkness every day. No phones, no televisions, no artificial lighting. Just long winter nights like our ancestors experienced. At first, the participants slept more because they were catching up on sleep deprivation. But after several weeks, something remarkable happened. Without being instructed to do so, they all began sleeping in 2 distinct blocks. About 4 hours of sleep, a quiet period of wakefulness lasting 1 to 3 hours, then another 4 hours of sleep, exactly the same pattern historians had discovered in old records. It was as if modern humans were rediscovering a forgotten operating system hidden deep in the brain. So what happened? Why did humanity suddenly abandon a sleeping pattern that lasted thousands of years? The answer wasn't science. It wasn't medicine. It was technology. Specifically, light. For most of history, night was expensive. Candles cost money. Oil cost money. Once the sun disappeared, productive hours disappeared with it. But in the 17th century, cities started becoming brighter. Street lighting appeared. Candles became cheaper. Coffee houses stayed open later. People began socializing after dark. Then came factories. Industrialization changed everything. Employers didn't care about first sleep and second sleep. Factories wanted workers to arrive at exactly the same time every morning. A population sleeping in 2 shifts wasn't efficient. A population sleeping in 1 block was. And then came electricity. Suddenly, humans could turn night into day with the flick of a switch. The average bedtime moved later and later, but work still started at the same time. The gap in the middle disappeared. First sleep and second sleep merged into one. Within a few generations, a sleeping pattern that had existed for centuries vanished so completely that most people today have never even heard of it. But the story gets even stranger. Modern insomnia might partially be caused by our expectations. Think about it. You wake up at 3 a.m. Immediately, your brain starts racing. I need to sleep. If I don't sleep now, I'll be exhausted tomorrow. Why am I awake? This isn't normal. Stress hormones rise. Your heart rate increases. Now you're really awake. But centuries ago, waking up in the middle of the night wasn't a problem to solve. It was simply the middle of the night. People expected it. There was no anxiety attached to it. Some sleep researchers believe that for certain people, insomnia isn't necessarily a broken system. It may be an ancient system colliding with modern expectations. That doesn't mean everyone should start intentionally waking up at 2 a.m. every night. Modern life isn't built around segmented sleep. Most jobs and schools expect a single block of rest. But it does mean something important. If you occasionally wake up in the middle of the night, you might not be malfunctioning. You might just be human. And there may be another reason this lost habit disappeared. Those quiet hours between sleeps may have been one of the few times in history when people were truly alone with their thoughts. No notifications, no emails, no endless scrolling, no 24-hour news cycle, just silence. Imagine waking naturally in the middle of the night. The house is still. The world outside is dark. There is nowhere to be, nothing demanding your attention. For thousands of years, humans experienced that moment almost every single night, and then we erased it. Maybe that's progress. Or maybe we accidentally deleted something valuable. A built-in pause button hidden inside the human experience. A small island of calm floating in the middle of every night. So tonight, if you wake up at 3 a.m. and stare into the darkness, remember this. For thousands of years, millions of people would have been awake with you, praying, talking, reading, thinking, waiting for their second sleep to arrive. You wouldn't have been the exception. You would have been right on schedule. And maybe the strangest part of this entire story isn't that humans once slept in 2 shifts. Maybe the strangest part is that we don't anymore. If you've ever woken up in the middle of the night and wondered what was wrong with you, I'd love to hear about it. Do you wake up around the same time every night? Have you ever had one of those strange 3 a.m. moments where your mind feels unusually clear? Leave a comment down below and let me know. And if you enjoy videos uncovering forgotten parts of human history that completely change how we see modern life, consider subscribing for the next one.